Hey, what's up guys, Sir Emanon here, and welcome to another episode of Road to 1000 DuelingBook Rating. This time we're going to be again playing Gouki, and we're going to be up against Adamancipator today, which is a pretty interesting deck, of course, given the ban list. Some of you guys were voting for the Adamancipator replays, our feature matches on the community tab polls that I've been putting up for the past couple of days. So this is like kind of a chance, I guess, to see Adamancipator in action if you guys wanted to see that deck in particular. But yeah, that deck is in a pretty interesting spot right now, of course. It does have the capacity to make pretty strong boards still, which I will talk about a little bit. But of course, without Block Dragon as just being the insane follow-up as well as just advantage generator turn 1, it's harder to accomplish both a strong early board as well as a good grind game. But people are out here still trying to mess with it, which is respectable for sure. So getting right into it here, we win the RPS, so we decide to go first, which, you know, should be a surprise. We're playing Gouki. And our opening hand is pretty solid here. We have a way to combo as we have Gouki plus 2 extenders actually. Fall Blade is fine to hard draw. It's not amazing, but it's okay. And Nibiru is nice if we were to go second, but we of course are going first. And you can see our opponent is on like the classic Adamancipator extenders that were in previous pre-banless builds. Like you see Unexpected Die and you see Petting Sisor as well. So I'm not really entirely sure how necessary it is to play these specific cards because a lot of the reason why you play them were they were Earth and or level 4 and or tuners, which all facilitated Hulk and Block Dragon and Gigantes plays. But like Earth specifically isn't as needed anymore because obviously no Block Dragon. So like, you can still play 4s and tuners to be able to go into Hulk or Gigant or not Gigantes. Did I say Gigantes? I meant Gallon Granite. That's what I meant. But yeah, you can still play the extenders for those purposes, but I'm not entirely sure if you need them specifically to be Earth anymore. Maybe you let me know if you are interested still in this deck, because I thought about messing out with it a little bit, but I decided to play Gouki instead. But I've seen people play a lot, or put a lot more emphasis on the Adamancipator synchros, because Riptide's actually a DD Crow, and Leonite is pretty cool because it lets you bring back rocks from your grave if you have fires in there. So basically, like you can do stuff like tribute Kwakimiri Guardian to negate something, then bring it back, which is nice. You can like bring back just random stuff during the end phase extend on the next turn. So yeah, it's a pretty cool idea that some people are having. The other alternative is just to default back to like Masquerena, like Appaloosa, Dragoon, Union Carrier for Buster Lock, like all of that stuff. So yeah, you'll see kind of like combinations of that in this build, but I'm rambling on a bit. Let's go ahead and just get started here. We're gonna go for Octostretch and then summon just one extender. We want to hold the other one here just because we don't want to play into like too many things. Don't have to. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and grab our double searches for Filler Gouki. Twist Cobra is like, it's kind of a weird card this format because I just feel like its effect isn't as relevant. The most relevant thing is actually trying to stop or force Dragoon, because like if you have it with Suprex, you can like tribute it to target the Suprex to make it 34, and then that actually forces a negation if it's on 3000 because it just gets beaten over at that point. So that's like probably the best application for this card's effect, but like other than that, it just doesn't really come up. And like it's nice to have the varied levels for rematch, but at the same time, I'd a lot of the time just rather have you know, level 1s to be able to, you know, make the plays I need to, like, because you guys, if you guys watched the big combo video that I put up, you can see that the level 1 Goukis are just really, really valuable to have because the Link Rainbow makes a big difference in a lot of cases. So a lot of times I would just rather open one of these. And the cool thing is that, you know, prior to like Guts being released, it would have been bad to play. Like, a lot of people just didn't opt to play 3 Octostretch, you know, back when Gouki was extra linking people. But now that you have Guts, it doesn't matter which one you open, you just summon the other and you get value, and you don't have to deny yourself a search. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and carry on here. We're gonna send our Phoenix Blade to summon our Guts, and then just summon Headbat here, and then go for pretty much just a normal line. Now we're gonna make a bit of a deviation towards the end just because we can end on a little bit of a stronger board. We grab double Gouki searches here for rematch and rematch, just for the next turn. I'm gonna bring back Goukis. Here in this list, I'm still not on Link Cross, so we're just gonna go straight for Swordsman, bring out the Zero Day, and then go for the Virus Berserker to summon back the other 2 Codebreakers. Really nothing special at all here. I'm gonna go to Rusty. Rusty will go ahead and send the Cloak to set Fog Blade. Then Cloak will grab our Boots. We can special our Boots, and then go for Verte. And since we have the second Fog Blade hard drawn in hand, we can use the Boots to grab ourselves a Shade Brigandine. And since we have another extender in the form of Fireflint Lady, we can actually go for a copy of Masquerena here as well. So this is an extra interruption that than what would normally be the case. Because with this point, you have a Dragoon on board as well, because I'm going to obviously send the materials. And in addition to the normal 3 Appaloosa negations, 2 Fall Blades, and Dragoon, as well as the follow-up rematch and possibly a hand trap, we also have IP to be able to disrupt, which is really nice with like Everett Anaconda, just because it's so small. And against a deck like Adamancipator specifically, this kind of board lines up really well. And I feel like if we were in a different format where combo wasn't as pervasive, then this would not be nearly as an effective board, because we don't have ways to stop, control decks as much. So yeah, here, Unexpected Die comes down. We're not going to negate it, because the game plan is just to negate the actual like payoff monsters or things that actually threaten. So summoning up Petting Sewer, that's fine. I could have negated the hand effect, but not really much of a point to, because it's not like one of the extenders that does anything other than just be a body for various purposes. It's not like one of the advanced generators like one of the tuners. Normal summon Doki, and then go into Hulk with the Trumpeter as well as the Petting Sewer. This is going to be negated for sure, the Hulk here. And then he's going to follow up with a Link Cross. And here I decide to use a Fog Blade on it, because if I were to use Appaloosa, then I could just go Battle Phase and like beat over it, and I'd be forced to use a Fog Blade if I wanted to protect it. So it's like, might as well just save myself the trouble, right? And just be more efficient with my negations. So that's something to consider if you're playing this deck, is like when to use Fog Blade versus Appaloosa. Definitely does matter. And don't forget that you can use Fog Blade on your own monsters, provided it's not Dragoon, to prevent yourself from being attacked. So that's something. You're gonna activate Researcher, and I negate the hand effect so it doesn't come out, because I saw that he committed to his normal summon. So I figured that it was a pretty good call there. And I actually did turn off the Seeker there, at least for the time being. Again, special out Gigantes by banishing the Petting Sewer, and then at the end of main phase 1, I'm going to use the Masquerena to go in a Unicorn, and then spin back the Gigantes. Because again, this Link Cross isn't able to attack, so I don't really fear that threat. Because all I really fear is, just a way to get over Appaloosa. I mean, even then, it's not like that bad, because it only has 1 negation left anyways, but, might as well just get in there while I can. And the cool thing is that we get to draw off of it being co-linked to Rusty, so a Dragoon normally wants to pitch the Phoenix Blade, but we got an extra card that's free to pitch anyway, and it's not really that good of a draw in any case. It goes in main phase 2. I tell him that it's still in main phase 1, but like it doesn't really matter in the end. Gonna use Doki Doki. I just used my last Appaloosa negation. Because like he said it was fine to be in main 2, so I was like, alright, if you want to go to main 2, that's fine. And I think he's just showing me Seeker here, because again I actually summon it, so I'm not sure why I used Dragoon, or declared Dragoon, but I think he was just showing me his hand, saying that like he can't really break the board. Just said, yeah, it makes no difference. As far as like the IP play was concerned, but or just being in main phase 1 versus 2. But going second here in game number 2, we have a pretty good hand as far as just having a hand trap as well as ways to combo. But our opponent also drew pretty well for comboing, but also kept in Dark Ruler, and this is something I mentioned in my feature match commentary a little while back, or a couple days back, is that like I'm not really sure why you keep in Dark Ruler going first, because it's not a combo card, it's not a defensive card like a hand trap, and like the goal isn't to be able to use this card. Like you don't want to be in a position where you have to use this card, right? Like the entire purpose of playing the combo deck is just to stop your opponent from building a board at all. So like this seems like really counter to what you're trying to do. So I'm interested as to why this is here instead of just like combo cards or hand traps. But yeah, going ahead and normal summoning a Seeker and using its effect, I consider gammaing here, but if I do that with his hand, obviously I don't know the hand at the time, right? But I just follow up with the Gigantes and a Researcher, and that's just like freedom to do whatever based on what Researcher hits. So I figured, yeah, it's probably not a smart idea, because like, I don't know what's in hand. Granted, like, probably would have started off with other extenders first. Like, definitely would have started off with Unexpected Die at Hara or Petting Sewer, so I know that can't be there, but or most likely isn't in hand. But there's a specific scenario like this where it's just possible that like this still go through. Maybe like just as a practice, it's better to just. I think it's better to be consistent, right? Like just either always negate the normal summon tuner if they have it, or just never do it. Here I'm just selecting to not do it, and then I of course get immediately punished by Guardian being summoned, so I'm like, well, that happens. Sometimes, they're gonna get it. It's a 3 of and just 35 cards remaining, and they're gonna hit 5 out the top, so pretty reasonable chance in all honesty. Researcher comes down next, getting tongue-tied here, and then gonna actually whiff. So that is pretty good for me. And here I'm just hoping, alright, if for some reason he links away Guardian, like to try and keep a tuner on board for a link cross follow-up, then I can like go for Gamma here. But he actually, in fact, just goes for a Hulk straight away with the 2 tuners. So I'm like, that's not really good for me. Because like this Guardian isn't really here as a portion of the end board as much as it is just to be there as protection and insulation from plays. Sometimes I have another Researcher, which is interesting because like a lot of people I feel are just playing like Plague Spreader now in this deck, but I don't know. Because like if you bring it back with Marcher, its effects are negated as well, and you can't activate it here, so it's like you don't really get any value by summoning another Adamancipator tuner, even if you didn't start off with Researcher. Like you just don't get value off of it. So I don't know, I feel like people could still maybe go for like the Cyberse Integrator combo with the Plague Spreader, because like that like replaces the Plague Spreader draw, but also gets you into Raptite. So I mean like that's something to consider maybe. I don't know. Maybe you could also just do it without Plague too, and just get a level 2 tuner, which is fair if you want to play Cyberse Integrator stuff. Going to Link Cross, summon out 2 level 1 tokens, and then going into a Marcher with the Researcher as well as a token. Marcher going to bring back a copy of Researcher, and instead of going for the Integrator with the Researcher plus the last token and then going into a Raptite, it's actually going to go ahead and make a Herald here. So at this point, like this could have been like any tuner basically, or any level 2 tuner, because it's gonna summon out Gigantes and make a Raptite, and then Raptite effect gonna go ahead and bring out a copy of Doki from deck. And there's no rocks in hand at this point, so that does actually makes that not only is the Doki not able to activate here, but there's not gonna be a hand rock to reveal for the Guardian, which I don't initially catch until like just like my draw phase, but we just fix it. I'll just mention that right now. But yeah, Verite Anaconda comes down now, and then of course you guys see the Dark Magician, so obviously playing the Dragoon engine. So yep, just gonna go ahead, not engine, but the Dragoon like play. But yeah, gonna go ahead and summon the Dark Dragoon, and then pass, and then here after I draw, I'm like, oh yeah, Guardian has to reveal, right? So yeah, goes to grave because obviously no rock. And then we carry on here. So I equip the Rendell to the Anaconda to try and see if there's a response. If there is, then that's great because it's literally free. And like if not, which probably isn't going to be the case, because like would you really negate a Rhoda out of 6 cards? Just get Red Layer, which is a new addition compared to my previous list. But yeah, Red Layer beat over Herald is nice here. But I'm trying to think, because all of my outs to Dragoon are battle oriented. Either their access code or Borreload, which it did cut, but if I was still playing Borreload, that would still require the battle phase. So I was trying to think of ways to maybe go into access code prior to the battle phase, but my thought process was like maybe there's just no way that my opponent uses a negation when they don't have to. So here I make kind of an interesting play, probably one that's incorrect. So I go for a Suprix and I activate Butter Spy, but I don't use the Suprix effect. Which is weird because I'm like chain blocking here anyways, but I'm just trying to see like here I'm thinking that like maybe maybe I can like try and just go battle phase afterward, because I think at this point I'm thinking that there's just no way I can go for access code. But if I had summon Octostretch, I could just go for like Isolde and then like go chilling 1 Isolde, chilling 2 Octo, and then just not even use the Isolde, and then go straight into battle phase. I could like access code, banish the Isolde to kill something. I like kill Raptite because it's DD Crow, and then, like, or I could kill the Herald because that would only be the only Link monster, and then just go battle phase, attack over Dragoon. So yeah, I think I could have played this. Yeah, I could have definitely gotten to access code before the battle phase. But here, yeah, I make that weird play. I think that's definitely wrong, because I think my thought process was just trying to use Headbat first and then like rematch the Octostretch and then Octostretch search later. But like it literally doesn't matter which order I do it in, because like if I summon the Octostretch, then I'm getting another Gouki to search to be able to put Headbat on board anyways. So it's like it doesn't really matter when I do it at that point, you know. So like in a hypothetical world where I play this perfectly, I could have it so where the board state is just Verite plus Raptite right now. And my board is rematch in hand with access code as well as Headbat not being used yet. So I could go like rematch even if Raptide banished one, I could still headbat afterwards, and then go into Verite, and then go Dragoon, and then pop, and then that's the end of the game. And actually, wait, access code I believe is a dark, right? I'm actually just gonna. Oops, you guys didn't see anything. I realized that I have my window share, but I believe access code is a dark. So yeah, I think that I could go in a Rusty as well, and then like go Rusty Dragoon too. So that could have been an option. But here I'm just like trying to play around Dragoon while also like making so I can live at this point, because I have kind of a weird game plan now at this particular stage in the game. So we're gonna use headbat like I mentioned, and then we're just gonna go ahead and go into Isolde, and then grab our searches, and then yeah, we get triple searches too, which is pretty good. We get Super X for follow up, and here I go into Phoenix, because my goal here is to make a Culling to Phoenix and Cerberus so that my stuff can't be killed in battle or card effects, and Dragoon actually can't out that by itself. So the idea is to like Cerberus pop the Raptide chain block with a Gouki, and then just do it that way. Because like I can chain block with Octo because I didn't use Octo yet because I pitched it for headbat. Like the whole play I was mentioning before. So I'm like, if I make Phoenix first, I can use Isolde. If that gets negated, I just use Rematch, and then we're chilling. What I probably should have done was actually just use Rematch first, because if that got negated, I just use the other Rematch. Granted, he saw me search both of them, but you never know, right? Isolde gonna be used to mill 1, and that actually does resolve. But like either way, I was making Phoenix Cerberus Culling to the way I wanted to. So I'm just gonna go with Rematch. That actually resolves too, and I'm gonna go ahead and use Phoenix Blade. And then here I just go, okay, I'm just gonna Cerberus, and then chain block with Octo so that Dragoon can't negate the Cerberus, because I want this Raptide off board. And my opponent never uses the Raptide effect to DD Crow. I'm just not sure if my opponent wasn't aware of the fact that Marcher was engraved, or just unaware of its effect in general to DD Crow. But that could have been relevant on like a rematch target, because like say they rematched my Octo, then I couldn't chain block the Cerberus, so that would have like kept the Raptide on board, which could have gotten like another negation. But granted, I would have had a way to go into Unicorn anyway, so like that was a very moot point. But I mean, it's something to think about, right? Like not using Raptide there, you know, probably wouldn't have been. Actually, I would have had one less monster too, so I wouldn't have had that many materials to be able to make all 3 of these. So yeah, definitely a misstep there. Not using the Raptide would have made a difference. This is of course granted that like, given the fact that I could have also just been in a completely different spot if I went for the access code play that I talked about. So, you know, just this is why you look back at your replays even when you have like games where you feel like you do well in. Like, you always learn something. Off the Guts, which is the one I summoned off Isolde. Yeah, so I didn't use it yet. Grab copy of Twist, and I mentioned like, oh, the only application is, you know, beating over using Twist Cobra boost. Like that's the only use of the Twist Cobra effect, but could come up still because Dragoon is still on 3k, hasn't used its effect at all. But yeah, here I accomplished what I wanted to do. Basically, I'm thinking my opponent just can't out this, but they have Dark Ruler in hand, which I'm like, oh, you know, why would you keep that in going first? Well, I guess, you know, I guess this is why. But my opponent actually just doesn't read my Nightmares, and then tries to use it, and I'm like, Cerberus protection, and then goes into battle phase to try and attack over the Cerberus, and then doesn't read the Phoenix. So that's kind of funny there. So my opponent literally just Dark Rulered, and then went pop, battle phase, killed the 3rd one. I would have had no board. But I think even with that play, I still would have been fine. So this Guardian doesn't do anything. It's just going to be pitch fodder for the Dragoon, right? So my turn comes around. Say my board is wiped, like it should be. I draw for turn, doesn't really matter what it is. I could go Super X, summon Twist, and then literally do the Twist play, targeting Super X to boost it. That would have to negate it. Like, that would have to be negated by Dragoon, otherwise just kill it. And then if that is negated, then I just go Twist Cobra, search Headbat. I can go Headbat, summon by pitching Octostretch, and then rematch 2 Goukis back. I can like Isolde, and then summon 1, and then access code to make it 43, and then battle phase beat over, and then main phase 2 use the access code and the level 1 or whatever other Gouki to make Verite, and then summon my own Dragoon, and that's the end of the game. So yeah, there's multiple ways I could have had the game here, based on the different actions that were taken by either myself or my opponents. So It's pretty interesting. But yeah, here I'm gonna draw 3 because we have 3 Culling to Nightmares, which is pretty insane. So yeah, we get everything that, it's all just superfluous because we already have our Gouki engine just kind of, rolling. But yeah, go ahead and use a Super X and then bring out Twist. And this is like the whole goal of like the last turn was just to go access code, make it 53, and I have game. I don't have to play Nibiru. So yeah, we just go ahead and attack and win the game. So yeah, it's pretty interesting that there was multiple ways that game could have gone differently based on the choices that I made or my opponent made. I think just like me not summoning the Octo was me trying to big brain a little bit too hard. It would have been just better if I had went for Octo because it would have allowed me to go for access code before the battle phase, which would have allowed me to out Dragoon a lot easier, so I could have outed the board easier and thus made my own board easier. Like everything would have just been easy. But yeah, I was like kind of mind gaming myself a bit too much with like the headbat, just trying to like summon itself and then like, oh, I could pitch Octo so I could summon it back later and get like another search. It's like I'm getting the search anyway if I just summon it off Super X. So like the whole thing was kind of just kind of pointless. So definitely could have played this better, in the fact that I could have just cleared the board entirely. But that being said, like given the fact that I had at least a backup plan to go like Phoenix Cerberus and I had ways to insulate myself from like the Dragoon disruption, it was still fine. My opponent not using Vaptite was a mistake for sure, and them not using Dark Ruler was like the really obvious mistake. But things happen. My opponent just didn't read, and even still, I pointed out the way that I would have won the game even if they Dark Rulered me. Like again, just a Super X headbat. Sorry, Super X Twist Cobra. So funny that Twist Cobra actually just is a clean out to Dragoon if it hadn't used its effects yet. But anyways, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like as well as any thoughts or feedback in the comment section down below. Feel free to subscribe for more informative and competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content. If you want to, you can follow me on Discord, Twitter, or Twitch. All 3 links in the description as always. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. See you guys!